Alright, so my name is Sean, and I've been working on an anime-inspired novel for the past 3 years. Yeah, it's been 3 years at this point. I wanted to get it published like a traditional light novel, like I have Class from the Elite right here, where you have words, of course, but you also have images of like important scenes or main characters. And I don't know if it will be published like this because I'm in New York, in America, and light novels, while they are getting bigger, they're not as popular here. So it might be published traditionally as a normal book. But why anime-inspired novels? Why aim for this as a new author? Let me take you back in time to when I got inspired by this. It's 2022. I'm sitting in my office on my break and decide to watch some anime. And on the front page of Crunchyroll, I see an anime isekai about a vending machine. A fucking vending machine. Now, I've never watched this anime, and I never will. But it got me thinking, right? What determines if something becomes an anime? What says, yes, this needs money and budget? So out of pure curiosity, mostly pettiness, I researched like how do anime get made as best as I could. And of course, besides manga, I found out a lot of anime actually start out as web novels. These web novels get popular on sites like Shou Satsuki ni Naru or Kakuyomu, where people upload their stories. These stories that will then get popular, upvoted, or commented on, and get pushed to the top. And the Japanese publishers will then go on these sites and see what's popular and see if it's marketable. It's why we have 10 billion freaking isekais. And based on the numbers, based on the niche of the story, and based on if they think they could sell it, they will then pick it up for publication. They will then turn that web novel, which is basically a rough draft of the story, even if it's like books in done, they have to polish it for consumer products, and turn it into a fully polished light novel that's been edited. And if that light novel sells well, which it assumedly should because it already has an established audience, they can then take those numbers and that profit and then pitch it to a production studio and have it be produced as like an anime, and potentially also a manga too. That's a simplification of the overall pipeline from what I can find. That's essentially the gist of it. And the beauty of that as well is people get to see the creation of the story in real time. They're watching you make it chapter by chapter and see it evolve with them. See how things improve, how you improve as an author. And I think that's why people love light novels so much, me included now, is because you are watching someone create a world in front of your eyes and you're not looking at a fully polished product yet. And what I took from this research, from what I could find, was that I could make an anime, I can write in this space without knowing how to draw. I just have to know how to tell a good story that's already beloved in this medium. And I can work with an artist down the line like so many other authors before me. And that's why I got to writing over these past 3 years. So what is my story about? So if I had to classify my story in terms of anime classifications, it would be either revenge, battle action, shonen, or seinen. All my characters are over the age of 20. It does have a power system. It has violence, it has very dark themes, delves into a lot of different topics. And while I'm writing towards an older audience, it can fit this new age of darker shonen where we have, JJK, Chainsaw Man, Kagurabachi, Gachi Yakudo. All these stories are grungier, they're grittier, they have more morally gray characters than anything. And it can kind of fit into that space. If I put it in actual novel terms, it would be a contemporary fantasy fiction book. Yeah. Contemporary fantasy is where it takes place in an urban, like real life setting, but it has magical powers with it. And yeah, I'm excited for it. I've actually been rough drafting it for the past 3 years. Have book 3 out of a planned 6 books so far. So I haven't written one book for the past 3 years. I've written actually 3 in this long series. I have it critiqued for the past 3 years as well. So I've been giving it to people and showing it to them and getting my ass handed to me. I've had so many comments and so much critique from different people telling me what I was doing wrong when I first started writing, which makes sense. I came from making films and like writing scripts. So when I wrote a novel, it was garbage, hot ass. I've gotten better at that now, and I can't wait to see what the story becomes, especially with anime getting bigger than it is currently, with the international stories being more accepted, especially in Japan, so that me publishing this here potentially in America and having a chance to publish it in Japan is not far-fetched. Me having it published in Japan and being in love is not far-fetched, and that potentially being sold to a manga publisher or anime, if I get lucky enough and like my story, is a possibility. And I see it now. It's why I'm working harder to also talk about my story and promote it before, like while it's done, but could use some more work. And it's just video 1 of the journey. I'm going to explain more about my story in future videos and sort of use this channel as a way to discuss my love of anime, my love of writing and storytelling within anime, and how I'm just taking all these lessons I'm learning from consuming a bunch of different stories to make my own different anime worlds. Because it's the first book series that I'm writing. It was the first one I started, but now I have multiple book ideas in the pipeline that I'm working on that I all eventually, want to be anime. And I even thinking of also making some things into webtoons if possible. I see a lot of webtoons also offering people different writers different deals. So I may eventually figure out how to break in and write my own webtoon just to test and get into that realm of making comics. I think they'll just be brilliant practice for me. So eventually, I do want to make a manga. I eventually do want to make a manga. I freaking love manga. I have a whole bookshelf over there full of manga. And I would love to see my own in the bookstore one day and just give love back to all my favorite authors like Togashi, Inoue, of course Toriyama, the originator of everything, now Kei Urana for Gachi Yakuda. Just all these stories that I've loved, that I've learned from, that I've honed my writing off of studying how they craft their worlds. I want to pay respect to them by making my own and hopefully bridging that gap of more international creators going into the manga space and even into the author space of light novels. So thank you for watching. Stay tuned for me talking so much about my story because I have so many things about it I want to discuss, and hope you enjoyed this journey.